Well, welcome to TROVE Views, and this is a new format, as you can tell. And what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about news items that we thought were quite interesting. Today we're concentrating on the UK and on Africa, but in the future we'll move around and look at other parts of the North Sea, indeed other parts of the world. But just thought we'd start off and look at one of the main sort of headlines, and that's in the UK, it's the Windfall Tax. Now, it's not exactly news, but really the reactions to it are coming out on a sort of daily basis of late, and companies are reacting to the fact that the UK's marginal tax rate for oil and gas activities has moved from about 40% at the start of 2022 to what is now 75%. Now, there are some nuances, and we cover all that in a video we just released a couple of weeks ago, and there's a link shown on the screen just at the top right there. Now, other news, well, North Eigg has been, this is Serica Energy, they've announced the results of the well. Now, they say it cost £13 million after tax. Well, we don't know what tax rates they're on, so we don't really know how much the wells cost, but we do think it's an expensive well because there was some top hole operational issues, and I think there may have been a respud or two. Anyway, the announcement is that they've found 16 foot of pay in Upper Jurassic sands. Now, we don't quite know what that means. Is it pay that's scattered over quite a long interval? Is it at the top of a very thick sand, or is it just top to bottom of a very thin sand that's only 16 foot thick? So, you know, we don't really, we can't really make much of an assessment based on the press release. They say that they're thinking about a sidetrack, but that's going to be an expensive investment. We'll wait and we'll see and report in the next update. So quickly talk about Norway. Well, really, what's happened? The major news item this year been lots of near-field discoveries, etc. But I think really it's the NPD releasing relinquishment reports, and this is the first time that Norway has done it. So they've got a vast number of documents that are out there, and some of these documents are absolutely huge, but they're packed full of great geology, descriptions of leads and prospects and various sizes and risking. By the time this video comes out, we'll have captured every single one of those relinquishment reports in our trove. So it covers the Norwegian North Sea, the Norwegian Sea, and the Barents Sea. So really huge numbers of leads and opportunities, and there are lots of interesting things happening in a much less densely drilled Norwegian sector than other parts of the North Sea, the UK and Netherlands, etc. So again, staying with the theme of exploration, and now the Pensacola well has spudded. Now that is being operated by Shell, but I guess the main sort of news item here is that this is Deltic Energy's first well, and the play is a zechstein carbonate. Now, it was actually back in the 1960s that the zechstein was targeted in this area of the southern North Sea. And here we are back looking at it sort of 50, 60 years on. But this is an interesting opportunity. If it works, it could open up an awful lot of new interest in the zechstein. But it's only one of many wells. There've been many cases of shows within the zechstein, and you know, it was really the target before companies moved on to prioritize the Rutligens. So another story on the exploration front, well, that comes from NSRL, and they are now fully funded for their Devil's Hole Horst well, which they're planning on drilling in Q3 2023. Now, Fraser Well Management are the management company for that well, and the rig is to be contracted, and they're gearing up for the drilling operation now. This is very much currently a sort of a one asset company, so it's a sort of classic boom or bust. So we do wish them well and hope that comes in. So there've been some recent announcements on discoveries and on some new oils. So Abigail now on stream. So that's in the Central North Sea, Ithaca Energy. It's a one producer tieback to the FPF. Now it's somewhere between 4 and 8 million barrels, and there's been a lot of attention paid to that by environmental groups. A big furore about whether it it should go ahead, and that was earlier in 2022. We've got Orlov, a new discovery again in the Central North Sea. Shell with Penguins redevelopments up in the Northern North Sea, though it's been delayed by COVID. There's now an FPSO, one of these cylindrical floating cork type things, which has leaving the Chinese yards and making the way round to Norway, where it's going to be fitted, and then across into the North Sea sector. It's always kind of Penguins is going to go for offshore loading, so it's a shame that it couldn't tie into the Brent system pipeline, or then go back and help Solomvo terminal. But that decision is in the past. Rockhopper, well, that's again Shell, again in the Northern North Sea. It was completed in November 2022 and is described as being a commercial discovery. And in the area of renewables, well, the story that caught our eye in the last few weeks is the UK energy transition deal that so West of Shetlands, it's BP, Equinor, and Ithaca Energy have all signed up to have a look at options for electricity or electrification. It's a form of decarbonisation, and they're looking at in terms of Clair, Rosebank, Cambo, and other fields in the region. Two concepts being considered. One is wind and the other's cable. Well, it's going to be cable, isn't it? I mean, who wants to run wind that far out in the middle of the Atlantic? So it's likely to be cable, but hey, we'll know in the fullness of time. So that's really all we want to say about the UKCS for now, just jumping across and looking at Africa. Well, starting in Africa with Namibia, we've done 4 YouTube videos this year. Our Venus video that came out in February 2022 has now had over 23,000 views. So it's still quite fresh. It's a few things have moved on, but the video actually introduces the play concept, along with another video we did on Shell's Graff, which actually found oil a couple of weeks ahead of Venus. Larona's been drilled, very little been released on the Larona well, but we kind of we can see that there is a competitive advantage in keeping this information, but the acreage is pretty much, well, a lot of it is tied up, so can't see that there's a great deal to be gained in keeping these things tight hole. Rigs are on the way, so both Shell and TotalEnergies, they've both said that they've got wells planned on their discoveries, appraisal drilling, and indeed the Yonka-1 well, which is being drilled with Northern Ocean's deep sea ballista semi-sub. Well, that's actually spudded now. Spudded just at the I think 10th of December 2022. Now that rig is on contract. It's got a 12-month firm contract and 6 months of options. So we should see at least 3 wells drilled, I would expect. But we'll be watching this space. Other news from Namibia. Well, we've got the Recon Africa. They've now completed their 3rd stratigraphic test. That seems like an awful lot of stratigraphic tests to me. But they did announce that the next well they're planning on drilling, which will be in 2023, will be on a structure. So we'll be holding our breath on that one. This time, we're not going to be talking any more about the Makoyu well in Zimbabwe. If you've been following our channel, you'll have seen we've done 3 videos on that, and it's a great lesson in what happens pre-drill and during the drilling, and now we're going to leave it and mop up at the at the end of the well and see what the final results of that are. Mozambique, well, over in the Rovuma Basin, Coral Sul, the very first development in that basin, and that's now shipped its first LNG cargo. And we think that one, that cargo actually went to Spain, but that's it now. Mozambique is up and running as a major LNG shipper and exporter. So we will be watching that space. And finally, news from Maurel and Prom. Well, this is a bit of M&A news, but they've basically gone after the Mnazi Bay. They've taken out Wentworth resources, equity in that, and they've also said that they're planning on 4 wells in the Walvis Basin in 2023. Well, seems a lot of wells in a fairly immature basin, and well, hopefully they're all very much independent plays, because you'd hate to find after drilling 2 that the risk on the remaining 2 wells has essentially gone through the roof if they're a dry hole. Not so much of a problem, of course, if they are a success. Now, go back, pause the video, and have a look at some of the slides that we've overlain on here. But let us know what you think of this new format. We're going to try and get through an awful lot of news very, very quickly, give you an overview of what's happening, and if you like it, let us know. If you don't like it, let us know. Hope to see you back on our channel before too long. Bye for now.